Liberation greetings to all and sundry, my dear people of Amazonia, my fellow brave warriors of the Southern Cameroon's liberation movements. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. The pleasure is mine to be back here on this platform today, as I promised yesterday, for a very, very interesting and animating show. Interesting because, like I said, a lot of things are happening in our noisy neighbors compound, and those things are sending a sound message to us, the people of the Southern Cameroons. And I want to assure each and every one of us that by the end of this broadcast, you will understand that 2025 is going to be a very defining year in our liberation movement. Very, very defining. There is just no joke about this, and that is why I like to use this opportunity always to extend hearty regards to the civilian population on ground zero, the civil society doing an excellent job, continuing to keep the Monday Ghost Towns holy, and especially continuing to show resiliency and determination. These are ingredients that are necessary to enable us get to where we intend to get to. I also want to really extend hearty salutations to our brave hearts, our self-defense forces, our self-defense volunteers who are doing a great job protecting the land and making it possible for La République du Cameroon to consider that they are going to annex us and keep us as slaves forever. The annexation exercise has come very, very costly. They have seen that the cost of occupation is becoming extremely unbearable, and by day and night they are realizing that their dream of ever keeping the southern Cameroons as a puppet territory under them is a pipe dream. This is something that requires or that calls for constant recognition. So I definitely want to continue to salute our brave hearts for that great job. And I also want to salute our diasporan Amazonians for the wonderful contribution they continue to make to move the struggle ahead. I really want to confess that by your contributions, by the money you put in, we are able to keep at least some vital segments of this liberation movement going. That is actually the sensitization, taking care of the foot soldiers that are moving up and down and sensitizing the people and building bridges between the civilian population and the self-defense volunteers, and of course also taking care of our refugees wherever they are, equipping them with the necessary skills to take good care of themselves. And of course, we will continue as much as possible by pushing ahead that idea that I brought up here the last time to ensure, because this is an idea the consortium has picked up and is going to be pushing so seriously, to ensure that those of us who have the possibility to do so adopt children of a lot of our fallen heroes, so that these children are able to have education, so that these children are able to have access to healthcare, so that these children are able to live at least some commendable level of life. This will embolden the spirits of those still fighting for our freedom, so they know that in the event anything happens to them, their memories will not be forgotten. The dreams that they had for their children will not be forgotten. My people of Ambazonia, this is the Ubuntu spirit, one for all and all for one. And so therefore, just before I delve into the beef of this production, this broadcast, I like to say, look on this on the scroll. You will see there the support the struggle. If you are in the United States of America, Zelle. If you are out of the United States of America, PayPal, and of course, all will go through amberrelief2018 at gmail.com. By all means, folks, support this liberation movement. We deserve it. This liberation movement deserves it. Of course, I'll always pin this information as the first message on the comment section. That said, I got a message just before I got into this studio. Someone reached out to me and asked me, Mr. Kuro, did you follow Mr. Capo Daniel? He had a broadcast 2 days ago about you and the consortium, and he was purporting that a group led by Dr. Fontem Neba have, you know, dissolved the executive that you had in the consortium. And I was like, oh no, I think you simply are not current. There will be a more comprehensive release coming out from the General Assembly of the consortium to put that aside. And my response was simply this: take note that evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. And because someone knows that this information that I'm passing is not the correct information, and that this information is coming from someone with a perverse mind that generally has sought to shatter a lot of the groups, movements, and organizations in this liberation movement, and that it is a pattern. And so you expect, therefore, that you have that intersection of those kind of people spilling that kind of information that you get out there. That's why my simple response was, evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. And so those who are uniting forces to make sure they bar us from attaining our objective of delivering a free, independent, and prosperous Ambazonia to our people and to future generations of Southern Cameroonians, they always will work together. No matter what you do, even if they pretend once in a while to be opposing each other, they will always work together. That said, that's not the subject matter of our discussion today, so let's move into what is most important for us today. My dear people of Ambazonia, I said always to the citizens of La République du Cameroon, whenever they came telling us on social media, on Facebook, on WhatsApp or Instagram, TikTok, that vous allez lire, that their bee was going to grind us, I told them always, everyone will have their day before the Baba. Everyone will have their day at the Babas. And so today, they are seeing for themselves that they are finally the main victims of La République du Cameroon's misguided, should I say, I'm looking for another word that should really tie, because it was misguided, misinformed, but most especially, a stupid annexation or occupation of the Southern Cameroon's territory. You see, I was looking forward because I'm trying to be a bit polite. I don't want to use some of those very vexing words, but we will get there soon. And so, when I told them a lot of the times that you will end up paying the price, you think that the people of the Southern Cameroons are the ones suffering? Yes, we know what we are suffering for. We know what we are dying for. Because as the late venerated Martin Luther King Jr. always said, there are certain things in life so dear, there are certain things in this life so eternally true that they are worth dying for. And if a man has not yet found what he or she should die for, then that life may seem not worthy at all. So I told them always, the people of the Southern Cameroons have decided, this generation, we have decided to die for the freedom of the Southern Cameroons. Because a lot of the countries that you see around the world that are free, independent, prosperous today, and that we are rushing to left and right to, live a better life, people died, people sacrificed, people fought in all kinds of ways to make those countries what they are. That is why the people of the Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonia, have decided to do. Because for us to make the Southern Cameroons, that land of milk and honey, that El Dorado, it requires sacrifice. But since you people don't understand what this whole thing is, you are going to be the collateral damage. And of course, collateral damage they are already, because they are fighting a French proxy war. Everybody is vomiting France today, but La République du Cameroon can't. Look at, yesterday here I was talking of 5 La République du Cameroon soldiers that fell in Akwaya, but the self-defense volunteers, they actually said that that group was made up of 7 soldiers when they were ambushed. And so they ambushed those 7 soldiers, they took down 5, and 2 others received shots and escaped and got missing in the forest. Of course, finally, they found them. The images are so gruesome that I can't even dare pass here. not just because of the YouTube policy, but also because really the images are so bad. And La République du Cameroon has abandoned the remains of those 7 soldiers who were brought down on the 3rd of January, just 3 days after Mr. Paul Biya was there in Yaoundé making noise and making stupid noises around there and claiming a certain one and indivisible. Their corpses have been abandoned. And if you see them, those images are circulating on WhatsApp, on everything, you can see them there. The corpses are already in an advanced state of putrefaction. The people who took them, put them, you can barely identify them. The families are there thinking that their children are still fighting. That's the fate that awaits the people who don't understand that you don't sacrifice your life for a war of blame or in a war of blame. Like I said the last time, there is a son of from Boyo County in the southern Cameroon that happens to be among the 7. What was he doing there? Fighting against his own people, fighting against the aspirations of his own people to freedom and prosperity. And I'm taking this opportunity to tell other southern Cameroonians who are still fighting in the ranks of the La République du Cameroon military, look, make hay while the sun shines. There is still time for you to make amends, because the chaos that is going to descend in La République du Cameroon will leave you not knowing what direction to go, not knowing what to fight for. And because at that time, they will never be seeing you as a friend. You will be crushed any day, anytime, anyhow, even just for their sport. This is something you need to take note about. And so that said, the citizens of La République du Cameroon are now doing what they themselves call Lila. Take a look at this image. You see this video here? You see people lining up there. Long lines of people. The people are still arriving. I mean, long lines of people. The people are still arriving. I understand that, I asked someone to take me a later video or picture. I'll be getting that one much later. But you see, the crowd will be far more than that. These are people standing on long lines, as you can see there, to go and buy a 50 kilogram bag of rice for 15,000, which is rice, which is product that has been confiscated from traders, that the Ministry of Trade or of Commerce claims that the people were, selling above the homologated prices, and so they confiscated. And now, to try and give the image to the people that are taking care of you, they say they are going to sell to the first arrivals for 15,000 francs or CFA francs a bag. But you see, the trick here is a lot of these people standing on the lines will go back home with nothing, because the privileged ones will still stand and commandeer all of those things to themselves. And at times, this rice that will be sold to them will actually be contraband, will be what may not really be rice. But that is the fate that they're already witnessing in La République du Cameroon only in January of 2025. The cost of living there is unbearable. I spoke to somebody even just in Bamenda, and they told me that a 15-liter bucket of Irish potato that by 2016 was selling for 1,500, 1,700 at the most. Today it's at 6,500. I mean 6,500 CFA francs. And come to imagine, a lot of this are shipped to La République du Cameroon cities of Douala, Yaoundé, and sometimes Bafoussam. What I want us to know, folks, is they haven't seen anything. It's not going to be easy, not even in the least. As if that were not enough, the citizens of La République du Cameroon from the South region, that's Mr. Paul Biya's region, they too have started taking time to ask themselves what they got after 42 years of their brother, father, and uncle being president. Take a look at it. See, these are roads in the South region, Mr. Paul Biya's region, the South region of La République du Cameroon. Look at those. Look at those are roads in the South region.
Le président Paul Biya m'a chargé de vous dire qu'il vous aime.
I'm just dying of laughter because this is amazing. And my people of Ambazonia, these people cannot help themselves. Mr. Pobia cannot deliver even to his own people. And you are expecting us of the Southern Cameroons to attach ourselves to a people who know nothing about development, who don't have an idea of how you couch a vision to transform a country, on how you bring in proper governance to give people good life, of how you create the enabling environment for people to create wealth and transform the society for an ever better life. No, they have no idea. They can't help themselves. They can't help you and me. I'm showing it just so that we see what awaits us if we ever, at some point felt that no, let's just leave it and give them a try again. It will be worse than this, than what you are saying. Because some of the roads that they even claim that they are doing in our land, they'll say, oh, we are doing the ring road now, we are doing. You saw Melamokichas come here and tell you, this is a road that was done just how many days ago? It is finished. You saw a member of parliament of La République du Cameroon standing on roads in Jum. Jum is still Mr. Paul Biya's region, South region, and saying this road was constructed just when it is finished. So even that thing that you are seeing that they are doing around Doom Cambe and all of those things, it won't take time before it is back to dust. Because that is not how roads are constructed in the third millennium. My dear people of Ambazonia, it only gets worse. Because right now, citizens of La République du Cameroon are being chased out of Gabon with whips. I'm sure we all heard what happened with Foku, the Foku Enterprises. That everything Foku was shut down in Gabon, shut down, and the company executives arrested. Why? Because the people were actually producing poison. The level of corruption in the minds of the people of La République du Cameroon, the desire for illicit wealth has reached a level that even on the international scene, the mention of Cameroon now is anathema. The mention of Cameroon can bring you trouble. The mention of labor, I'm from Cameroon, can bring you trouble. I'm telling you, can bring you trouble. We never had that kind of reputation. We don't want to be associated with that kind of reputation. We don't want to pass anywhere and people say, hey, those people. No. Because La République du Cameroon, I said before, is worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. Because what Foku was producing in Gabon, and that's what it does in Cameroon in the name of Jews, and all of those things, they found out that it was outright poison. All because of massive search for quick gain, illicit gain. And no quality control, because those who are supposed to ensure quality control get bribes in return for sealing their mouths and approving poison to be sold to the people. You're doubting? Listen to this Gabonese.
Les Camerounais, je suis désolé pour ceux qui sont mes amis ici au Gabon, mais laissez-moi vous dire que ce que vous appelez continent, c'est un continent au fait des malhonnêtes, un continent des sorciers. Comment vous pouvez penser et imaginer que la banane que les gens doivent manger, vous prenez le formol, vous mettez à l'intérieur pour que ça puisse vite mûrir?
Did you hear that? He says Cameroonians people call that a country, continent. That's a continent of evil people, a continent of demons, a continent of very dishonest and malicious people. And he says, how do you imagine that banana that people will eat? You take formol. You know what it calls formol? That's what they use to inject on dead people. What they used to inject on dead people to preserve the corpses. He says they take that, this La République Cameroon citizens who go to Gabon, they take banana, they will inject this product in it so that it should get ripe faster, so it should ripen quickly to make money. That's what this Gabonese guy is saying. How on earth? Listen, it's not me saying it. If I were the one saying it, you say Akuro is exaggerating. No, no, no.
Vous savez ce qu'est le formol? Vous prenez l'avocat, c'est même pas encore son mois, son année. Vous le bouillissez, vous pouvez vite faire manger aux gens en disant que non, c'est après pour manger. Le miel, vous prenez ce miel-là, vous prenez le sucre, vous faites du caramel, vous mélangez avec un peu de miel pour remplir dans les...
Let me not let him go too far so you don't understand what he's saying. He says pear. You take pear. You won't wait for the right time for the pear to get ripe. You boil it in water so that it should ripen, it should seem to have ripened quickly for the sake of illicit gains. And then honey. You take little honey. You take caramel, you know caramel, you call it granule sweet. You mix it inside. You put some sugar. You sound it, and you come and pass it for original honey. Just because you want to make illicit money. Oh, when I say honey, I think of our beautiful indigenous honey from Oku. You see how it is? Whitish, good, awesome. They certainly buy it from us. Cheap. Go and adulterate it in Gabon to make quick money and come away from there with this kind of reputation. Follow.
Bouteille pour dire que non, c'est le miel pur. Qu'est-ce que vous ne pouvez pas faire aux gens pour que les gens puissent mourir vite? Même entre vous, chez vous, vous avez peur de vous. Vous êtes tellement malhonnête. Tellement... Écoutez, vous allez voir un jour.
You hear what he says? That even you, even among yourself in your own country, you are so dishonest that what would you people not do just to get money and then get people die quickly because you want to earn money? Ah, what a reputation.
C'est que vous vous glorifiez que vous avez les plantations de ça, vous avez les hectares de ça, vous avez. Un jour, votre agriculture pourrira et personne ne viendra acheter. Les gens qui sont en frontière avec vous fermeront leurs portes pour que votre nourriture ne puisse plus arriver au fait. Pourquoi? Parce que vous êtes tellement malhonnête, vous empoisonnez les gens et vous pensez que ce que vous faites c'est bien. On a, voilà Faubert ici au Gabon, pour ceux qui ont suivi le journal, jusqu'au jus, vous êtes des malhonnêtes jusqu'à ce point.
Did you hear that? It's so painful watching him, listening to him. It's so painful. You see what the promise is? That Cameroonians know someday all the neighboring countries around you will shut their borders against you, will no longer buy foodstuff from you. Those your large plantations, agriculture, you see, you will produce and they will get rotten there because neighboring countries no longer buy because of your dishonesty, because they are afraid of the kind of product that will come from you. How can a country earn this kind of reputation? How on earth can a country earn this kind of reputation? And you are an Ambazonian, you are a Southern Cameroonian, and you are telling me that you want to stay unevenly yoked with a people like those ones. They will tell you that tell me your friends, tell me your associations, and I'll tell you who you are. My people of Ambazonia. We can't stand this. You hear him talk about for bed. Talk about foku for bed. That's just called jus. That juice. Huh? Soda. What do people they transform it into something else? And people end up drinking poison. That's not a place to live in. I watched a video that I couldn't glorify by passing even in which kind of form on this platform, of a couple in Bafusa making love in public, a couple in public, broad daylight, a couple, not that some mad people know, a couple. What for? Demonic tendencies, get rich quick tendencies. I said that country, like Republic of Cameroon, is worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. We have to make haste to leave that place before it gets completely destroyed. This is why I keep calling on our people of Ambazonia, our people of the Southern Cameroons. Make sure we join forces. Let's continue to fight against the forces of division in our midst. Let's continually join forces by all means possible to make sure we overcome this challenge and get La République du Cameroon and every vestige of their colonial presence on our land out of Amazonia. That is when we shall begin to live a good life. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll now get into the key subject matter of today's communication. Thank you very much. Welcome back from Manu. We're there in Manu County in the southern Cameroons. That beautiful Monican dance. Always a pleasure watching this. It's so sweet, I'm telling you. So beautiful. That's only a foretaste of the beautiful culture of Amazonia. My dear people of the southern Cameroons, lately I was talking here about relations between our self-defense volunteers and the church. You will say it's as if I knew that La République du Cameroon was soon going to find themselves locked in a serious, deadly battle with the church. Right now, it's not sounding easy. It is what I call an epic battle of the most dreaded Egugus on both sides. Light and darkness are clashing. And right now, it's definitely not easy. This is still just the 8th day of the first month of the year 2025. A lot has already happened. So much is already going on. So much tension. So much confusion. So much, even confusion of roles. Oh my goodness. We haven't seen anything yet. We are still at Genesis. By the time we get to Malachi, I'm sure by the month of March, oh my goodness, it's going to be something else. And like I said, I always told the people of La République du Cameroon that we, the people of Amazonia, the people of the former UN Trust territory of British Southern Cameroons, will have the last laugh. They thought it was a joke. Now look at this. They have gone so impetuous right now that they have launched a complete assault against the church. Not only the Catholic Church, any church minister that makes any declaration that seems like telling people, get out of your slumber, you are going to face the sledgehammer immediately. If you are doubting, let's take a short trip to the Noon. The Noon division is in the west region of La République du Cameroun.
À Fumba, dans le département du Noun, où le révérend pasteur Yves Foncha a finalement été entendu. Souvenez-vous, il avait été interpellé par la police après une prédication où il invitait les Camerounais, en tout cas ses fidèles, à prendre leurs responsabilités à main en faisant le bon choix lors des prochains scrutins. Alexis Yangwa.
Before I go into that report, you heard what she said. That this Reverend Pastor, Yves Foncha, his name is Yves Foncha, he was arrested by the police after a church service, after an ecumenical service. This was an ecumenical service organized by the mayor of Fumban. The mayor of Fumban is Tumaino Damjoya, as the wife of the deceased former minister and president of the CDU party, Dr. Adamu Damjoya. And so during this ecumenical service, Reverend Pastor Yves Foncha called on the people to be wise in 2025. He recounted, he mentioned all the challenges that the people have witnessed for 42 years and told them that in 2025, you must make a wise choice, a choice that will take into account your aspirations for change. That did not go well. That did not go well with the local authorities in Fumban. And so immediately, soon after their communication service, Reverend Pastor Yves Foncha was arrested. Here now.
Cheminons-nous vers l'autocensure de la parole des ministres de culte au Cameroun et dans la région de l'Ouest en particulier. Devront-ils se taire face à la misère qui ronge les fidèles et leur parler uniquement de la vie après la mort et de belles choses qui meublent le paradis? Voici les propos qui auraient valu la convocation le 27 décembre 2024 du révérend pasteur Yves Foncha Méfiré par le commissaire de police, chef de l'antenne opérationnelle de surveillance du territoire de Fumban.
Nous déclarons avec l'autorité prophétique qui nous a été conférée que Dieu ne laissera pas ce pays sombrer dans le désespoir. Il suffit.
Did you hear that? He said, after recounting the challenges being faced by his Christians, the suffering, the torture, the hardships, and everything, he said, God will not allow this country to somber in the hands of forces of darkness. And now he went ahead to urge his Christians to make sure that in 2025 they do the right thing. Like I said, this is not what La République du Cameroun wants to hear. You saw a summons there. This pastor is called Yves Foncha Méfiré. He is of Bamoun origin himself. He lives with the people. He preaches to the people every Sunday. He sees the challenges that the people are going through. Just like the Reverend Fathers. I was reading a write-up on social media forum where someone said, you find priests battling to to say masses at least 4 to 5 burials in one day. And at each scene, they hear, they feel what those people went through before passing. And so in their mind, they know they are touching directly the misery of the people. And so the indifference that they had become known of over the years at some point must give way. And this is what is unraveling right now. Let's follow again.
Il y aura certainement des hommes à l'image de Jéroboam capables de changer la donne et redonner de l'espoir au peuple camerounais. Oui, il faut que le peuple camerounais ait la chance d'avoir des hommes comme Jéroboam et que ce peuple soit aussi capable de suivre le leader charismatique qui va prendre la résolution de changer. Parce qu'il faut une révolution mentale dans ce pays. Il faut qu'il y ait des hommes qui soient capables de dire non à un certain nombre de choses.
Et le président de la
Did you hear that? He said, you need somebody like Jeroboam in the Bible who stood up against injustice and changed things for the people. And he said, when that comes, the people should have the courage to pick that charismatic leader endowed with the capacity to turn things around. And he also said they should pick people who will have the capacity, who will have the courage to say no to certain practices, to say no to certain things. This is exactly what I've been telling the people of the Southern Cameroons. For a long time, for 42 years at least, I want to leave the other years behind, we have some people calling themselves elite in our midst, members of the CPDM crime syndicate, who have been sending people to sleep by claiming each day that, oh, you see, Paul Biya is the best thing that ever happened. None of them has ever had the courage to stand up to the genocidal regime in Yaoundé and say, enough, you cannot continue killing my people. None of them stood up to defend the interests, even of one of them, one who was with them before, Aya Paul Abine, the retired late Chief Justice Aya Paul Abine. When that government confiscated his pension, his money that was cut over the years, over 40 years, and saved to be paid to him when he goes on retirement, it was confiscated. None of them raised a little finger. Moja stood up in Boya. went and captured a pregnant woman, tortured her morally in every way possible, and even finally had her thrown in jail. Only crime that she had previously dated Braveheart No Pity, a self-defense volunteer. That was her only crime. None of these people ever stood up to them. Not Bella Moki Charles. No. Not Mukete. No. Not Atanga Ponji, who he said that's the best thing that ought to have been done. No, none of them. Not Fu Jonathan. Not Fu Callistus Gentry. No, not Ufe Chinjemelo. None of them. None of them. My people of Amazonia. That is all that this Reverend Pastor said to his parishioners during an ecumenical service, to find himself summoned and then detained. Let's finish.
Région de Grand Nord de l'Église d'évangélisation par le Christ décentralisé d'ajouter
qu'il y a lieu de libérer le peuple pour qu'il soit lui-même acteur et participant à la construction de son bien-être. Parce que par la décentralisation, le peuple pourra se prendre en charge. Et c'est ce que Jéroboam a décidé de faire avec le peuple du nord d'Israël. Il est clair, mesdames et messieurs, que si vous voulez rester dans la situation qui est celle que nous vivons actuellement, vous allez, comme Madame le maire a dit, récolter ce que vous avez semé.
Period. He told the people, if you want to continue to stay in the current circumstances, you want to continue to stay in the situation that you live the kind of life that you have lived this 42 years. And that's what I tell the people of Amazonia. If you want to continue to live the kind of life that you have lived this 62 years and counting, is it 62? 65 years and counting, then we will have only ourselves to blame. That is why we must kick La République du Cameroon out of our land. At last, the people of La République du Cameroon are recognizing that their country is hell. I said here several times it was hell. Some of our denizens came and said, oh, you are doing fear-mongering. Oh, you are making people to panic. Oh, you are causing... When I told our brethren, who are still hanging on to La République du Cameroon, make hay while the sun shines, because the time is coming soon when pigs will beg for wings to fly. You see, he said that if you allow yourself in those kind of circumstances, you will only harvest what you have sown. And that was more than enough for him to be summoned. Now, you see, he made that declaration. That declaration was made around the same time that the bishop of Yagua made this one too.
Bleu peut prendre le Cameroun. On ne va pas souffrir plus que ça encore. On a déjà souffert. Le pire ne viendra pas. Même le diable qu'il prenne d'abord le pouvoir au Cameroun et on verra après. Amen.
Amen.
So, that came after that. So, this one demonstrates beyond reasonable doubt that within the church, the scales are falling from the people's eyes. That within the church, the scales have literally fallen completely, and the people are beginning to see much clearly. And so the prelate now, the evangelicals, are rising to tell the people they just find it hard to say what those people of Southern Cameroon have been saying for the past 8 years was not only true, but exceptionally true, but especially true, but even beyond true. My people of Amazonia, it requires just that. Just these few ones. I talked about Reverend Pastor Sosten Bayemi. I had shown his own. I talked about Monseigneur of the Archbishop Cleda. In fact, there are many. I've shown you some. And now, the government of La République du Cameroon cannot stay indifferent. And you see the way they are reacting in disjointed and confused ranks. In disjointed and confused ranks. When I was analyzing the speech of Mr. Paul Biya yesterday, I told you there was a statement he made. That there was one thing Mr. Paul Biya made. That one statement he made. And I'm going back to it, where he said, improving governance also means stepping up the fight against corruption and misappropriation of public funds. This ensures legal protection for private investment and land tenure security where abuses have been noted. Let me assure you of one thing. Appropriate sanctions will be meted out on those found guilty of such offenses. And again, I said yesterday that there is a list of both active and former members of government in La République du Cameroon that has been constituted as those who will be sacrificed, as Mr. Paul Biya will be seeking to send the public reeling, shouting and dancing on another sphere while he secures himself another 7-year mandate as he has always done. And among those people are Atanga Ponji. You will discover that Atanga Ponji has suddenly forgotten what role he plays in that government. He is now everywhere because you are going to see a fight among those ministers, everybody trying to show Paul Biya as much as possible how useful they still are in a bid to see if they could be reconsidered for sacrifice another time, not this 2025, because they are all sacrifices. And so that is why Atanga Ponji has immediately gone on the offensive against the judge. Listen.
Le ministre de l'administration territoriale a suffisamment d'éléments à l'encontre de certains Camerounais inconscients, responsables des partis politiques et associations ONG, aux ordres. Et certaines associations...
He says, le ministre de l'administration territoriale a suffisamment des éléments. That the Ministry of Territorial Administration has every avenue, has all the powers. He's no longer saying the government. Mr. Atanga Ponji is now the law. He has forgotten what role he is. Minister of Territorial Administration is not Minister of Defense. He's not Minister, or he's not a Delegate General for Internal Security that's in charge of the police. He's not the Secretary of State in charge of the gendarmerie. No, that's not his role. But Atanga Ponji say, I have the entire arsenal to teach a lesson to anyone, political party leaders, leaders of associations and all whatnot, who he says are purportedly acting on behalf of some dark forces.
Religieuses qui brandissent l'épouvantail du chaos en 2025 si leurs objectifs mafieux ne sont pas atteints. Toutes ces personnes qui jettent de l'huile sur le feu n'ont qu'à bien se tenir durant toute l'année 2025.
He said those who are ready to bring chaos and all those who are pouring oil on fire. Here Atanga Ponji is telling them in 2025 stand well. The whole of 2025 stand well because he already promised Molinex before now. That's the blender. He also promised serpent affamé now. That's an angry serpent now, or hungry serpent.
Il n'y aura pas d'espace pour les fauteurs de troubles, quel que soit leur titre ou grade. L'ordre public sera maintenu et renforcé.
Oh, no space for troublemakers, whatever their titles and grades, because the public force will be brought down. Atanga Ponji. Continue.
En toutes circonstances, force restera à la loi. Plus que jamais, je mets en garde les responsables des associations et ONG aux ordres, les politiciens complotistes et conspirationnistes, contre tout acte malveillant susceptible de perturber l'ordre public tout au long de l'année 2025. Force restera à la loi.
Oh. What happened?
Le ministre de l'administration territoriale a...
Atanga Ponji, hold on first. He says force, the force of law, I mean the law, will hammer, boom, 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 throughout 2025. While Atanga Ponji is saying there, they will not care about the grade, the rank, or the what. But you know, his target is actually the church, the Catholic Church. But even there, he is afraid. Although he throws tantrums and all whatnot, makes insinuations, he is afraid to call it. He claims that he will grind everyone. But you see that even the police or the gendarmerie or whatever, they easily fell on the Yves Foncha, on Reverend Pastor Yves Foncha Mefere, because he's a pastor of another, religious congregation, not Catholic. Because with the Catholic, they are afraid. Because with the Roman Catholic Church, it's a state. It's a state. And Paul Atangaji knows so well the power that they wield and that they have refused to use over the years.
Suffisamment d'éléments à l'encontre de certains Camerounais inconscients, responsables des partis politiques et associations ONG, aux ordres, et certaines associations religieuses qui brandissent l'épouvantail du chaos en 2025 si leurs objectifs mafieux ne sont pas atteints. Toutes ces personnes qui jettent de l'huile sur le feu n'ont qu'à bien se tenir durant toute l'année 2025. Il n'y aura pas d'espace pour les fauteurs de troubles, quel que soit leur titre ou grade. L'ordre public sera maintenu et renforcé. En toutes circonstances, force restera à la loi. Plus que jamais, je mets en garde les responsables des associations et ONG aux ordres, les politiciens complotistes et conspirationnistes, contre tout acte malveillant susceptible de perturber l'ordre public tout au long de l'année 2025. Force restera à la loi. Le ministre de l'administration territoriale a suffisamment...
You see, that is Paul Atangaji promising fire and brimstone, but at the same time, knowing that there will be limits to the trash that he is saying. That's not even his role. Because all those threats and all whatnot, the bully pulpit doesn't belong to the Minister of Territorial Administration. The person who should come out and communicate this is the Minister of Communication, not the Minister of Territorial Administration. Atanga Ponji is now combining Minister of Territorial Administration, Minister of Communication, Delegate General for National Security, Secretary of State for the Gendarmerie, Minister of everything combined to himself in frantic efforts to see if he could be saved from the COVID money he embezzled, from the numerous instances of embezzlement he was involved in, and especially because he's also involved in the trafficking of weapons, of war weapons. That's another dossier that is hitting his brain. But while he was there making all that noise, over in Boya, the bishops of Cameroon have been meeting. And there, Mr. Paul Biya Koili dispatched the governor. Of course, governors have always read welcome addresses whenever the bishops go calling. But this time is different. You see Okalia Bilai there in this picture with the bishop of the Boya Diocese, Bishop Bibi. So, as you must have heard, a lot of instructions was dished out to the governor to do the best he could to ensure that the level of hospitality is beyond imagination. Because the government of La République du Cameroon is thinking of too many avenues, both attack and cajoling. So the government of La République du Cameroon is imagining two approaches. That is, using the carrot and the stick. So while they will be doing subtle threats, they will also be trying behind the scenes to ship bags of money and all other kinds of goodies. The question that is on several lips today is, will the men of God, will the men and women of God stay the same? Or would they titillate the people and then chicken in when they receive little brown envelopes here and there? That is something we are still to see. That is what makes the stakes of this seminar of the bishops of Cameroon in Buea extremely high. At no time have expectations been so high following the holding of a seminar by the bishops of Cameroon. It's something that is routine every year. But this year, the stakes are too high and the expectations have gone over the roof. You can see this even on social media, as both encouragements and threats are the order of the day. And so, while the government of La République du Cameroon is threatening and then going behind and sending delegations to go see this men of God, they are using the press and Atanga Ponji to come out there and scream and say there could be consequences. So as these bishops are meeting in Buea, the tension is rife. I mean, the tension is real. Because you see, I showed you these newspapers the other day, and I still want to go back to some of them today, where you see they say, opposant à bien, opposant au peuple et à Dieu. Where you see they're showcasing, so I'm trying to say, oh no, that picture there is trying to suggest that if you are against Paul Biya, you are going to be against the Pope, because Paul Biya has relations at the highest level of the Catholic Church. That's a subtle message they try to send. As if that is not enough, they come up with another one. They say, les prêtres recherchent le gombo et les prados neufs à Paul Biya. So they are pointing out here that the bishops or the church or the men and women of God are rising to make a noise because they want to raise the bargains to get brand new cars and huge envelopes from the government of Mr. Paul Biya. And you see, this is a pattern, because the intention is to make sure that they turn even the Christians against their shepherds. The reason is simple, because if these men of God suddenly go quiet, go numb, and start saying, no, 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 let there be peace, let there be this and that, just talking about peace without talking justice, as we have been decrying in the southern Cameroons, obviously the people will come to one simple conclusion, that the men in Kasok have received money, have received bribes from the government of President Paul Biya. And then, if they don't receive, the government of President Paul Biya is in total threat. Like you see here, you say, ces évêques invoquent Satan à diriger le Cameroun. So you see, this kind of pressure should be telling enough for anyone that knows that system, that the government of La République du Cameroon is at this point in time in panic mode. Even with all those newspapers making that noise, even with Atanga Ponji coming out and screaming the way he screamed, that has not been judged enough, as the Minister of Communication also came out with a lengthy press release which reads, during the past few days, or the title is the government statement, declaration by certain bishops of the Roman Catholic Church on the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon. It says, during the past few days, more specifically following the head of state's end-of-year message to the nation, we have been witness to various reactions on mainstream and social media from our fellow citizens, including those of some prelates of the Catholic Church in relation to this year's presidential election, says René Emmanuel Sadi. So he says, while recognizing the right of all to freely express their opinions within the ambit of the laws of the Republic, the government deeply deplores the vehemence of some declarations focused solely on the presidential stakes and based on a misleading and inaccurate interpretation of the words of the President of the Republic. In this regard, it should be recalled that the President of the Republic has been invested with a 7-year mandate, which will run out in a few months. As such, it is entirely up to him to reassure his fellow citizens of his determination to fully assume it with the same enthusiasm and commitment. Now, that's some interesting piece of information there. You see, while the Minister of Communication is ranting and all not there, he recognizes that the very last statement Mr. Pobia made in his end-of-year address on the 31st of December 2024 is what has set the country ablaze much earlier than they would have expected. Is what has degenerated into this chaos that we are seeing in the very first days of the first month of the year 2025. Because Mr. Pobia concluded his speech by saying, I particularly appreciate the unwavering and massive support you have always given me over the years. It is this unwavering trust that has inspired my tireless efforts to meet your aspirations. Your trust is both an honor and a compass for my actions in steering our beloved and beautiful country. I can assure you that my resolve to serve you remains steadfast and grows stronger by the day as we address the immense challenges facing us. So the Minister of Communication is now trying to spin it around, to walk back this statement, to mean that Mr. Pobia was simply expressing his determination to complete the remaining year in his current 7-year mandate. Did you get that? When you find the government of the Republic of Cameroon trying to backtrack on such a situation in a communique by the Minister of Communication, it should tell you that they have seen the heat. If they were trying a test, they have seen for themselves that 2025 will be a bloody year in La République du Cameroon. And you see the discordant approach in addressing these concerns. While Atanga Ponji is out there promising fire and brimstone and swearing on rooftops how he will crush, he will grind people, he will up, he will down throughout 2025, the Minister of Communication is trying to walk back the statement by the head of state. Now, this cacophony should tell you exactly what is at stake. I've told you a lot of these members of government will commit a lot of missteps and they will even climb on each other's toes as they are all fighting like the rope dance. Like in the rope dance I talked about in Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. And particularly the voyage to Lilliput. It is this discordant approach that will make things even worse. Let's continue. So he says, moreover, the government wishes to point out that Cameroon is a secular state where religions coexist in harmony and maintain peaceful relations with public authorities. This therefore implies that there is no conflict between the government and religious denominations, in this case, the Catholic Church. In the same vein, the government reaffirms that Cameroon is a democratic state that respects the rule of law, where citizens, whoever they may be, can freely, express themselves and make known their points of view on major issues of the nation. Now, you look at that. While the Minister of Communication is saying Cameroon is a democracy, where people can freely express their point of views on major issues, Atanga Ponji is saying, try it. Atanga Ponji is saying, try it. Atanga Ponji is saying, yes, there could be freedom before speech, but freedom after speech is not guaranteed. But while the Minister of Communication is there swearing that people can express themselves and make known their points of view on major issues of the state. And he continues, he says, as a matter of fact, the government considers that the clear-cut declarations made by some religious authorities on the upcoming presidential election, which smack of pure speculation, are the sole responsibility of those authorities and can in no way call into question the relationship between the state and religious denominations, nor influence the free choice of Cameroonians, who will, when the time comes, make up their minds in all sovereignty and responsibility. You look at this. The Minister of Communication, spokesman of the government of Cameroon, is making his point and insisting that those people, even as individuals, are free to say what they want. Because at the end of the day, the people will decide by themselves with what they know or with the information they have in their hands. That is the spokesperson. But a certain terrorist called Atanga Ponji has taken over the entire government. He even believes right now that he is vice president of the Republic of Cameroon. You will see again right ahead. My people of Ambazonia, I said it's going to be really hot, extremely hot, especially as we got information clear from the mouth of the chamber of what they call a chamber de compte. I'm even forgetting the English appellation, that they have concluded all investigations on the mismanagement involved with money sent in by the World Bank to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, we know Atanga Ponji beat not less than 300 million from that money, got donations from individuals and sold them back to the government for hundreds of millions. It took bullying by the Prime Minister for Atanga Ponji to reverse some of the money. Not only him, Malachi Manauda. While the Minister of Communication is saying Paul Biya has not yet declared his candidature, Malachi Manauda, Minister of Public Health, is out there on the field saying the health personnel have said, hooray, Paul Biya, IOP 2025. Let's finish up. So, the minister says, by the way, with regard to his possible candidacy for the presidency of the Republic, President Paul Biya has clearly stated before that at the appropriate time, he will disclose whether or not he will be seeking re-election. As of now, any controversy on this issue is unnecessary. The government, therefore, invites everyone to stick to this answer, while urging all those who aspire to the presidential office to prepare themselves in the best possible way to take part in this election. The government is closely working with competent structures to ensure that this election is organized in a serene, transparent, and peaceful manner. So you see right there, the Minister of Communication has walked back the statement made by Mr. Paul Biya in his end-of-year address. Why? Because the country is already on fire. Very early in the year. And there is no indication that it's going to cease. Because even if people were to want to, at some point, try to forget a little, there is one man called Atanga Ponji, who by his activism will never let this subject matter to cool off. That is why, even after making all the noise there, promising brimstone and hailstone and everything and all whatnot, Atanga Ponji had not finished that. He flew very fast to Marwa, drove to Yagua to go and meet the Bishop of Yagua. In that picture, you are seeing Atanga Ponji with the Bishop of Yagua. Now, did he succeed? Did he not? What did he go to tell the Bishop of Yagua? To threaten and to promise money. Because that is the approach of the Biya regime. To say, if it is money you want, this is money. But if you don't want money, we will kill you and nothing will happen to us. Because of course, they killed Monseigneur Bala, they killed Monseigneur Angebenvam, they killed several Reverend sisters, they killed and killed and killed. They even killed Evangelist Westcott of the United States of America, Charles Westcott, who went to visit in Ambazonia, or was on an evangelical visit. They have killed pastors, reverend fathers, bishops. Nothing has happened to them. So that's what Mr. Atanga Ponji went to tell Monseigneur, the Bishop of Yagua, to tell him that you either take money, or if you don't want to take money, if you try, That's what he went to tell Monseigneur Yauda Urgo. Did he succeed? Did he not succeed? That's yet to be known. But looking at this picture, the body language in this picture tells you the meeting was tense, tells you the meeting was inconclusive. And again, another piece of evidence that the meeting was tense, inconclusive, and did not go well for Atanga Ponji is that as soon as Atanga Ponji returned to Yaoundé, he transformed himself from the Minister of Territorial Administration, from the Minister of Communication that he had usurped, from the Minister of Defense that he had usurped, from the Secretary of State in charge of the Gendarmerie that he had usurped, from the Delegate General for National Security that he had usurped, now to the Minister of External Relations. Because upon return to Yaoundé, he summoned the Apostolic Nuncio to Cameroon. That is the ambassador of the Vatican to Cameroon. Tanganjipo summoned him. You know, in the world of diplomacy, because the Vatican is a state, and so the Apostolic Nuncio is an ambassador. And in the circumstances where there's disagreement between two states and somebody has to summon the ambassador of that country, someone, because that's a diplomatic step, a diplomatic move, showing dismay, that is the role of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, not that of the Minister of the Interior. It's not the business of the Minister of the Interior. But in his activism, in all frantic efforts to avoid imprisonment, to show Mr. Pobia that, you see, I am the only one, I am ready to die, I will kill anybody for you. Atanga Ponji invited, summoned the Apostolic Nuncio to Cameroon. Whatever is someone who tell, like to say, tell the Pope that you should be very careful. If the Pope tries, I will kill even you. I will arrest even you. Parce que force reviendra à la loi. My people of Amazonia, I would die of laughter. I've told you people, there is danger in the enemy's camp. A lot of danger in the enemy's camp. I know you're watching anxiously, but because you have watched right up to this moment, because we'll have the last one, the most interesting one was reserved for the end, please support the struggle. Support this liberation movement. Rush quickly, pick up your phone, go to Zelle, go to PayPal, and quickly drop something in through amberrelief2018@gmail.com. By all means, support this liberation movement. And so, my people, evidence that is going to be a very steep hill to climb, not only for Atanga Ponji, but for the government of La République du Cameroon with the church, is that this young priest, he's speaking in Cameroon, in Yaoundé. He has seen other priests assassinated rampantly, but he is speaking in Cameroon, in Yaoundé. Hear what he says.
Des déclarations, soit par des synodes, soit par des conférences, soit par des séminaires, soit par des prédications. C'est-à-dire, à tous les niveaux, les évêques exercent leur mission principale qui est celle d'enseigner. Donc, ils sont dans le cadre de l'enseignement. Et nous devons savoir que la doctrine sociale de l'Église, elle est motivée d'abord par des principes majeurs. Le respect de la dignité humaine. Le respect du bien commun.
So you see, he's now saying that the main role of the church, of the bishops, of the priests, is to teach the word, is to preach the word. But he moves on. He extrapolates by saying, this involves ensuring the respect of human dignity, the respect for the common good. Really? May we finish up. Let's finish it.
Destinée universelle des biens, le principe de subsidiarité et le principe de solidarité entre les peuples. Dans un contexte comme le nôtre, où la corruption a fait son lit, les vols, détournements, les gens n'arrivent plus à vivre.
So he says in Cameroon, what has happened? Corruption, embezzlement have built their nest in La République du Cameroon. They've settled their bet in La République du Cameroon. People can no longer breathe. Life has reached a level where everybody is choking. That's what this young priest is saying. And he will conclude very interestingly, don't go away.
Les petits soins, l'eau, l'électricité, la santé, rien ne va. C'est la dignité de l'être humain qui est menacée. Et donc, les évêques ont l'obligation de sortir. Je leur dis d'ailleurs merci en ce début d'année.
So you see, he says everything is at stake in that country. The people have been deprived of everything, and that it is the role of the bishops, the role of the men and women of God to rise to the occasion to say enough is enough. And what does he say? He wants to thank them. He wants to congratulate them, those that have already risen and said the things that they have said. Here is conclusion.
D'avoir versé un peu d'eau bénite. Ils ont versé un peu d'eau bénite sur le Cameroun et le faisant, les démons de la malgouvernance et de la corruption sont en train de s'agiter. Parce que quand on verse l'eau bénite, justement, ce sont les démons qui s'agitent et c'est ce que nous constatons.
Did you hear that? He said the bishops have just sprinkled a bit of holy water on the country, and the demons of corruption, of embezzlement, of poor governance, the demons or whatever are already running, parading the streets, running all over the country. Atanganji, does that cap fit you? Begin to wear it. That they have sprinkled just a bit of holy water, which means they are still at Genesis. Hey, by the time they get to Malachi, maybe when they come out with incense, Abi, la République du Cameroun will be an interesting place to watch.
Vous ne répondez toujours pas à ma question, à ma question, Père. Je veux dire, vous avez dit que le magistère de l'Église s'exprime par des déclarations, mais des déclarations de...
So, my dear people of Ambazonia, this is the package I have for us today. So you see, La République du Cameroun is in a powder magazine. They know it. The people know it. And like I said, for the people of the Southern Cameroons, for the people of Ambazonia, this is the time more than ever before for us to be vigilant. Because the demons of division, of confusion, will rise and they will become more ferocious within our liberation movement. Because La République du Cameroun will want to leave us with something to be fighting over, to be quarreling over, while they try to see if they can sort themselves out. In their rusted brains, they are imagining that they can continue to divide us so that we will fight against each other until they will go through chaos for years, finish that chaos, fix their house, and come back and colonize us. God forbid. That will not pass. That effort failed since yesterday. That's why I said we must continue to identify there are parachutes in our midst. And those people, we will know them because they always work together. Because the evil people always support each other. That is their chief strength. So we should watch out. We will see them. By their actions, by their associations, we will know them. And we have to be vigilant and we have to be careful. I want to thank each and every one of you who took time off to be part of this broadcast. I know it's pretty late into the night in the Southern Cameroons, because we literally started about when it was about was it 1:30 a.m. We're already in the early hours of the morning in Ambazonia, but those of you who stayed up this late to be part of this very interesting broadcast, please make sure you share the link, share as much as possible, so that as many people as possible will watch and be edified. I want to thank all of you for your steadfastness, and of course, do not forget to support the struggle. To God be all the glory.